Howdy folks, Max Caveman here, bringing you to a little bit of a discussion, or show and tell. I have just made it home from the Perth Regionals for 2023, and I thought I'd show off my deck and talk about how I ended up going. So, as is the case with most regionals, you do get some exclusive merch. Let me just get that out and I'll give you a quick look, but all in all, it wasn't the best showing for me, so didn't end up doing quite well. But, so, today for the regionals, we did get a Bosses of Orders reverse holo with the regional stamp. I realised I forgot to take some sleeves, so I'm now sleeving it. And then we got this playmat. It is the Reggie Drago playmat. Now, it's pretty standard, like design, and you got the regional logo, well, crest on it, or whatever you want to actually call it, on it as well. I felt like a couple, just like a small handful of people actually dropped out of the event after getting that. So a couple people mainly went for the promos, promotional stuff. Now, by the end of day one, I did not make top cut, so I am just going off of what I managed to achieve in day one. I managed to get a record of 1-5-1. That's 1 win, 5 losses, and 1 tie. Not the best outcome, but I wasn't playing a meta deck. So the deck that I was playing is a Rapid Strike deck. It's one of my favorite ones. It is the Jump Bluff, I call it Fluff Ball Sweep. So for the Pokemon, I do have a 2/2 Remoraid Octillery, a 2 Passimian, then a 4/4/4 of Hoppip, Skiploom, and Jump Bluff. Now this deck is hyper focused on Jump Bluff here. You want to get this out as fast as possible, and you want to get at least 2 ready. That sadly didn't happen. A lot of the games where I would get this out and it would immediately get knocked out, and not enough time to build up a second one. The Skiploom works really well for this deck. It has the ability Solar Evolution. When you attach a energy card from your hand to this Pokemon, you may search your deck for a Jump Bluff and evolve it straight from the deck. So you can evolve twice in one turn with this deck, and that was fairly consistent. What I was doing is get maybe 1 or 2 Jump Bluff out, evolve them up, and then immediately evolve into Skiploom, and then get into Jump Bluff. Mainly with Octillery, the Rapid Strike Search, that allows you to search your deck for a Rapid Strike card, reveal it, and add it to your hand. And all of this pairs really nicely with this Passimian, which boosts damage to benched V Pokemon, and GX, but only V at the current format, by 30. Now, if you have not seen this Jump Bluff allows you to attack twice. And that will come up in a little bit. But let's go on. One of my biggest issues was the fact that I kept on bricking a bit. I felt like, as you can see, I may need more energy. Most of the time I'm quite content with running these 9 energies. The Spiral Energy does come up if I can't get the the necessary, like if I have to use something other than Hop It, because the Passimian needs fighting energy, and I don't necessarily want to sacrifice a Rapid Track energy for it. So yeah, that's the energy lineup, the 4-4-1. It works for me most of the time, so that's good. Moving on to the supporter cards, I run a 1 copy of the Furisode Girl. Nice little tech card, just gives me a bit more managing of the bench. I possibly want that at 2, or at least, just to give a little bit of shuffle around. And the Hop It Lion has free retreat cost, so it isn't as difficult. Got 2 copies of Roxanne. Most of the time, I never saw this when I could use it. I think I pulled it off twice, and that was in back-to-back turns. Managed to play both of them in one game, but aside from that, wasn't really worth running. I do have the 2 Boss's Orders, 2 different artworks here. Boss's Orders, simple enough, trying to just control what's on your opponent's bench. I do have 1 Raihan. This is actually quite good. Most of the time I didn't get it, seeing as it is a one-of, but just a nice, easy way to get into something for next turn, or some of the item cards that we're going to talk about in a sec. So you have 3 Karina's Focus. Nice way to bolster the hand. This deck does take quite a few prize cards in one turn, so if you get a Karina's Focus off of that, you do have a little bit more to work with in getting rid of it. Run 1 Clara, 1 Flannery, 1 Cynthia's Ambition, and 1 Erizu. Aside from the Cynthia's Ambition, aside from the Erizu, that's right. The Erizu didn't really come up much. The Rapid Track Search from the Artillery was just too fast, and every time I saw Erizu, it was too late in the game and just couldn't do anything. Cynthia came up a couple of times, just that extra bit of draw power. I think I used Cynthia mainly as a draw 1 or draw 2. That's how bad I was bricking. I was willing to play down something like that, or even Karina's Focus. I was dropping it to draw the 1 from playing the Karina's Focus. But the Clara and Flannery actually came in really interestingly. A lot of decks at the moment do want to run a bit more special energy, so having the Flannery to discard it, and if people were playing Lost Zone, which Lost Zone was basically the most common deck. I think I faced it 4 times out of 7 rounds. One of those rounds being that I didn't face it was against Lugia. I faced off against a Rapid Fusion Strike, and then the last one was what I refer to as like the Pika Rush. It's a bunch of vanilla, 1 prize card, like Pikachu and Pikachu clones. It's a deck I would love to build for something a bit more casual, but these did really work getting back a lot of the cards. And lastly, for the item / tool cards and stadiums, we do run 3 Evolution Incense. Best way to get that Octillery out of the deck, because there's 8 targets for a basic, so and most of them have an evolution. So good way to get my searches out. Rescue Carrier came in clutch. I feel like because you always want to have a Hoppip on board and its evolutions, just being able to get them back, because this can get you back the whole line for Hoppip. So this was absolutely perfect for trying to get it back. I do run a 1 of Echoing Horn. I only played it once during the event, and it backfired dramatically. One of my opponents playing Lost Boxes just bricked on the Comfey, and I brought back their the Primate Wisdom Orangaroo, but I brought it back because I needed less cards in hand to activate a Carina's Focus, and it didn't work. My opponent just came back because of it. So I do run a 1 Energy Lotto, because there's only 9 energy in total. Getting a energy is just sometimes a little bit harder. So I do run a 2 of Quick Ball. I am slowly phasing these out of decks, so I didn't want too many. And again, the only real target that I have for this Quick Ball is actually the Passimian. As you can see here, I do run Level Ball, but the Quick Ball, the Level Ball can't get Passimian, so that's why I want the Level Ball mainly to get that 1 card. And I do run a 4 of Level Ball. This gets me my Remoraid's, my entire Hoppip line. So this is like big to get a lot of my combo pieces. Rare Candy, fairly simple. Evolve the Hoppip into the Jumpluff from hand. Came up once. Is it going to come up more often? Probably not. That's why it is only a 1 of, in case I do go Rescue Carrier or Clara to get back a Hoppip and a Jumpluff. I can just use this to evolve into it. So the big focus on this deck is the Rapid Strike Scroll of Swirls. This allows me to attack all of my opponent's Pokemon, and it does 30 damage to each. With the Passimian, this bumps this up to 60 for to V's, and then the Jumpluff's ability allows me to attack twice, so I can do 120 damage to benched V's. That's the main idea of this deck, is to get that combo off. In some situations, it can just win me the game in 2 turns, but it gets hard countered by the Manaphy card, which is, well, it's not as common. A lot of people were just run it as maybe a 1, maybe 2 of, but it's just half the time. You have to know that a certain deck is going to be an event, otherwise it's always up to the player. Now the final 2 cards, I do run a Tower of Waters and a Path of Peak. Path of Peak is perfect because it does not affect my Pokemon whatsoever. I don't have any rule box Pokemon. It's all rulers, so absolutely perfect. Shuts down Lugia, Arceus, and Fusion Track, so perfect. And then Tower of Waters is mainly in here to get the Octillery out of the active. Most of the time I don't end up getting the Tower of Waters, so because the Pokemon are just fainting before it's needed to actually switch out into what I want on in the active. So that was the deck. I did realize throughout the day, it's like I need a copy of I kept on searching for, like, in my mind, I need an escape rope or an ordinary rod, which I just didn't have. And for them, like, I didn't have it at any point. I really thought it was in the deck. I did change this deck like a week before regional, so it's like kind of on my fault. It's kind of my fault for taking out something that is such a staple card, such as the escape rope. Ordinary rod was okay, but it does slow down the Skip Plume evolution to not have it in the deck. But a big thing is the fact that rotation is happening, so I try and not have a lot of these cards that are going to be rotating in, in about a month at this point. So I just wanted to give you a look at what I ended up playing. I placed 85th out of 94, and a few people under me ended up just dropping. So I felt like I could have done better. There were a couple of really close games that literally just came down to like 1-2 cards. Not having that escape rope really actually hindered a lot of things, and not seeing boss's orders fast enough. But that's it. Got some thinking to do for next year. So hopefully you liked this little deck profile video. If you want to see more, let me know. I've got a few of my other like janky decks that I really love playing. Might give those a little bit of a shout out. Do have to go through most of them, double check that what's in it is not getting rotated out. But aside from that, most of them are fairly decent. They are going to be all mostly legal going into the G block. But hopefully enjoyed. Hopefully get to see you again next time. But until then, have a good one, folks. See ya.